Greetings, everyone. My name is Alex White. I own a business on Monroe Avenue, and I live on South Clinton in the city. I have a couple objections to the sale of this property, but one interesting point before I get to that. Just a month ago, you voted on a budget. And in this vote, in this budget, we had to borrow money to pay for things, and we had to cut services. Yet, 1 month later, we have found $6.7 million that we can make as a loan to the developers of this project. The thing that I find troublesome with this is this was never mentioned at the hearings. This was never mentioned to any of the public events. The public was never given an opportunity to say whether they wanted their taxes to go up or whether they wanted $6 million to go to Buckingham Properties and Morgan Management. And being this project didn't come through in the last month and was definitely being worked on, it seems vaguely disingenuous of the city to go on and do these hearings and not include money they know is available, and then to claim they need to borrow money and cut services and raise taxes when they knew all along where $6 million more were. But let me get on to the real problem here. The real problem is the sale here does not follow the city code. And I have to apologize to everyone here because I'm going to read some city code to you. And it's going to be boring, but there's enough lawyers up here in the city that you'll follow along. So let me go with this. Section 21.4, sale of city-owned real estate. Real property owned by the city which has been acquired through tax foreclosure proceedings or other means and is no longer needed for municipal purposes may be sold by the Director of Real Estate upon approval by City Council through any method authorized by statute, local law, or ordinance. What follows is a list of ways to sell this property. 21.5 is a public auction sale. A public auction sale requires a notice of sale having been published at least once in an official city paper subject to approval by City Council. I do not remember seeing that. So this cannot be the way we are selling it. 21.6 is a sale by negotiated sale. The sale price by Section B of this, the sale price of real property sold by negotiated sale shall be established by a professional independent appraiser. Exceptions may be made if the Director of Real Estate estimates the value of the real property is $1,000 or less, or the city has independently established values of similar sales on file. I looked it up. The city assesses this property at $435,100. which, although it's been a while since I went to school, I believe is more than $1,000. And therefore, sale by negotiated sale would not be legal. Because, or if it was, I really would like to know who assessed it for $2. Because I want them to come assess my properties. Because I think we all could use the tax breaks. 21.7 says a sale to owner occupant. I don't believe I need to read anything here because as we all know it's vacant. 21.8 is request for proposals sale. By Section E, the purchase price of a parcel sold in a request for proposal sale shall be established by a professional independent appraiser. I don't think that happened. So we obviously are not doing it by request for proposal sale. Next is 21.9, a sale by land contract. And the Director of Real Estate may sell a parcel of real property by land contract to a resident tenant, commercial tenant, industrial tenant, or a public sale. Again, I don't remember there being a public sale, unless tonight is that public sale. And if it is, then it should be sold to the highest bid. These laws were put in place in '93 specifically to prevent property from being transferred from the city, which is public money, which belongs to all of us citizens, to people, particularly who are family members, government officials, friends, or campaign donors. And I would like to point out here the Buckingham property owned by Larry Glaser and the Buckingham property itself donated $5,000 in 2011 to Tom Richards' campaign. So these laws were put in place specifically to prevent what's going on here. As such, I feel that it is incumbent of us to consider the highest bid. And so I would like at this time to make a bid, and a serious bid. We originally planned on parading people up and spending an hour of your time putting bids in $1 higher, and I know you're all thankful we chose not to do that. Instead, we would like to bid $100,000 for the development of this property. In this bid, we have to end all auctions. 10% of the price has to be present at the time. The following people are involved as principals at this moment. I'd like them to stand up. Lisa Jacques, Remy Fenster, Mary D'Angelo, Jenny Denninger, David O, Lou Penna, and myself, Alex White, were willing to bid $100,000 for this property, and I would like the council to recognize that selling it for $2 does violate the city charter. So I'm asking you, if our bid cannot be accepted, you do not accept the illegal process you have before you right now, and instead follow your own laws. But in preference, I believe the group of us with other citizens involved in Rochester would happily raise more shares and use the $12 million or $11.9 million, 11.7, whatever it is. We would happily use that to start the project and do the development as a community-owned project for the benefit of Rochesterians, not for the benefit of a campaign donor. Thank you very much.
I thought Alex was great. I don't have anything else to, well, I prepared this, so I'll read it. When I heard that the city was selling prime downtown real estate to a campaign contributor for $2, my first thought was, oh no, not again. Then I saw the proposed plan for the building, and I like the proposed plan for the building. It's beautiful. But when I read the details of the transaction, and I saw that for Larry Glaser's 2 $1 bills, he was going to receive $11.9 million of taxpayer money to develop the property, I thought they really need to open this up to bid. A bid process is the proper procedure to ensure that we are not being wasteful with citizen-owned property. $11.9 million of taxpayer money is worth more than $2. I'm willing to pay more than $2. We have a group of citizens here. This would be a citizen-owned building who are all willing to pay more than Larry Glaser is willing to pay. What I would really like to see, another thing I would like to see is for our city to hire a developer with their tax dollars while continuing to own the property, and then eventually own the developed building, i.e. the citizens and the taxpayers who paid for it would own the property and the developed building. Then the city and the citizens could either sell the building for more than $2 because it would be worth millions, or they could continue to own and manage the building and reap the revenue and profits of their investment. Giving our money to one man so he can reap the profits of our investment is more than corporate welfare. Because he's a campaign contributor, it appears to be blatant corruption. My suggestion is that you decline to sell this property to Larry Glaser tonight, and that either the city retains ownership and development of Midtown in order to eventually gain more revenue for the citizens of Rochester, or you open up this property to bids, and the highest bidder gets the $11.9 million deal. Tonight, the citizens have put in an offer of $100,000. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brady Fenster. I own some rental property in the city of Rochester, and I find it sad that the city feels the property at Midtown is worth only $2. As the city tries to promote downtown as a viable area for development, what message is being sent when prime real estate is given away for a mere $2? Certainly the land, the property, the area around is worth more than that. I believe it's only fair to the citizens of the community that the process be opened up to bidding. Thank you.
Seeing no additional speakers, that hearing is closed.
Pursuant to law, public hearing will now be held on the following matter.
Before my vote, we have a motion on the dais to introduction number 282. Legislation to authorize the sale and use of parcels, parking rights, easements, and additional rights to further the Midtown urban renewal plan.
Thank you, President Warren. I do have a motion to discharge introductory number 282 from committee.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor of discharging introduction number 282 from committee, please say aye. Aye. No. Motion passes 8-1. Before we vote on introduction number 282, I had asked the administration to look at the parking agreement for this property, for this particular legislation. And I understand that this development needs to go forward, but I cannot support it under these particular circumstances. You know, when we look at what we're charging for the east end garage for a monthly parking space, we're charging $72. And when you look at 435 spaces for 25 years at $9.85, I have a real problem with that. I also have a problem with the lease of the 34 parking spaces that are also being leased here for, I believe, 25 years, where we're leasing it for $1. I think that when we originally looked at this development a number of years ago, when the PayTech first was thought about, we talked about charging, $30 for that parking space, and here it just seems that we are not being fiscally sound when it comes to this parking agreement. And so for that reason and that reason alone, I will not be supporting introduction number 282. Now let's vote on introduction number 282. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Has it been restored?
Yep. Yes.
I'd like to say two things about it, if I could. One of them, as you know, there's been some political theater here, but this is an urban renewal district, and the urban renewal district governs the circumstances under which the property can be acquired and disposed of. That's been the case since the city took the property, probably now 4 or 5 years ago. So the sections of the city code that were read to you do not apply to this transaction. They were in the wrong section of the code. And we have attempted to solicit proposals for this property publicly for now almost 3 years. So it's been a very public process, going through a series of developers to find someone who will be willing to do it. This particular project required is a $54 million commitment, $40 million of which is raised privately. The money that the city is providing is all loans. In the first year in which the property will be in existence, it'll generate over $200,000 in payments to the city. It currently generates none. I respect the President's position with respect to the parking, but I'd like to just put, our position. I understand you don't agree with it. And this is different, of course, than the situation we have with PayTech, because the developer of the real estate in this particular case is responsible for maintaining the property. So the city avoids a significant amount of cost which it would ordinarily have to incur. And we believe when you add the avoidance to the payment that's made, we come out whole. That's the rationale behind it. But it's obviously a very important part of the entire project, and we judge it as part of the total. But that at least, I want you to know that at least we have rationale here for the issue that we put it together. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that explanation. Again, I just agree with the parking agreement. I think that we went back and we looked at What the deal was in 2010, and it was $30, and the developer would be responsible for the maintenance of the property, even in that particular situation. So, again, I will be voting no on introductory number 282. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Nay. The motion carries 8-1. Councilmember Palumbo, do you have a motion in regards to introductory number 283?
I do. I moved to discharge introductory number 283 from committee. Second.
All in favor of discharging introductory number 283 from committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries 9-0. Now let's vote on introduction number 283. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries 9-0. Councilmember Palumbo, do you have a motion for introduction number 284?
I'd like to move to discharge introductory number 284 from committee.
Is there a second? All in favor of discharging introductory number 284 from committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries 9-0.
Believe the mayor just lied. Section 21-13 says the sales has to follow all procedures for city-owned property, which means everything I read was relevant, and they're not following their procedure. And I cannot believe the mayor got out in public as a response and quoted something incorrectly.
So what's the urban renewal part of it?
Urban renewal says that properties for urban renewal have to be sold or disposed of by all rules for the sale or disposal of city-owned properties. Which means the exact same rules apply, not special rules as he's claiming.